The winners of the Your Place, Our Country photography competition are now on display in the McBride Cultural Centre, celebrating the local icons of the different places that UNE students study from, including the beauty here in Armidale. To celebrate, I spoke with Terry Cooke, one of the judges of the competition and a local Armidale photographer.
You're listening to 106.9 TuneFM. Today I'm very lucky to be joined by Terry Cooke, who is a local photographer here in Armidale and one of the judges on the Your Place, Our Country photography competition. Thank you for joining me, Terry.
Thank you for having me.
No problem at all. I wanted to just start out, you're, as I've mentioned, a local photographer and you've got quite a portfolio of work. Do you want to just tell us a little bit about your past in photography and some of your work?
Okay. Probably was interested in photography when I was a teenager. When we had kids and everything, I didn't really do anything but family photography. About 20 years ago though, I got interested in landscape photography and the area around here. And I've been photographing it probably for 20 odd years now. About 10 years ago, I started to produce some books of landscape photography, and there's probably one, two, three, four of them, and one of them included the university, by the way. Yeah, so that's the background. I just like getting out in the landscape and the gorge country and what have you. Yeah,
it's a very beautiful country to be doing it on. One of those books that you mentioned, Mount Duval, I believe, is one of the prizes up for grabs in the Your Place, Our Country photography competition. Can you tell us a little bit about what's in that book in particular, and about Mount Duval being the title as well?
Yes. One of the things that all locals, if you've lived here for more than 5 years or so, you know Mount Duval. It's a prominent landmark, and I thought I would try and photograph it from everywhere. So basically, photographs on top of it, and then I basically just spread out from there. And I've got shots from Uralla and Gyra, from Little Llangollen Lagoon. I had to use a drone for those sort of shots because Mount Duval is a little baby bump on the horizon. But so what the book is basically Mount Duval in all sorts of weather conditions. Also, generally in the foreground is something people know about. It might be the showground, it might be the town, it might be Gyra. You'll see them in the foreground. It's just not the mountain itself. So the idea was that just to show people how prominent it was. Which was interesting because when you go behind Mount Duval on the other side, it's not prominent. Because of the way the hills are, you can barely make it out. But from Armidale and all these other places, it's a very obvious mountain.
Right, and so what do you think Mount Duval meant to you being a local icon? What was it that fascinated you about it to capture it in not just one photograph, but an entire series?
That's a really interesting question because I've been here for about 40 years now, and it is part of the landscape. And I know the Aborigines have been here for sort of 60,000 years plus. I can understand their connection to the land because even in 40 years, I've been all over the place around here, and I've been in the gorges, I've been up in the mountains and what have you, and it's really in my blood. So when you've got 60,000 years of it, that's really something. Yeah.
Really special, yeah.
Mm.
What is it that you're going to be looking for in something that you will eventually play a part in declaring as a winning photograph?
Okay, that's interesting. And look, probably two key things to start with. One is it's got to be on theme. It's got to be relevant to what they've requested. But secondly, first thing I look for is a bit of a wow factor. You basically look at it and say, oh, yeah, that's good. After that, you go into all the technical stuff. You look at the focus and, the lighting and composition and all that sort of thing. But quite literally, first thing I do is look at it and say, yeah, that's a good photo. And then I'll analyse it and break it down as to why it is a good photo. Can I just add something here too,
sure.
in terms of, you asked me about the meaning of Mount Duval and what have you, and I said, the Aboriginal and Torres Strait people have gone back much further. I went to a talk on Aboriginal art once, and the person who was talking said most European type people will get one layer of meaning out of this, and which is generally all I do get out of Aboriginal art. But for the Aboriginal people, they're actually several other layers, and we may never get those, layers ourselves. And I suspect it's a bit like the landscape, sort of, there's a level I get at that, but I suspect they get it at a much deeper level.
100%, yeah. It'd be fascinating to hear about some of those perspectives, and hopefully we will be
Yes.
In this series of interviews as well as through the competition. I just wanted to ask you on a personal level, we're going to have students from all walks of life and all parts of the country submitting for this photo competition. What is it about photography that you think can be powerful for an individual, but also to bring a group of people like that together?
Photography allows you to express yourself and capture moments that you feel are important. And I think if you've got a group, the group can sort of give them a common goal in terms of trying to express something. In this case, your place, where you live. I'm going to be fascinated to see how people do this, because I think if I was given the task of doing this topic, I'd have to think pretty hard before I actually started doing it. So I'm quite looking forward to seeing the results. Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us. I just want to give you an opportunity as well, because this will be going out on our Digital HQ and on Tune as well.
Uh-huh.
Is there any of your work that you'd like to promote to people both around the country and here in Armidale as well?
Yes, in August, September, I've got an exhibition coming up at the Armidale Art Gallery in the Mall, and the title of it is 2019 Not Forgotten. Now, if you remember 2019, it was a really terrible year. We had bushfire smoke, we had bushfires, we had dust, we had no rain. So I covered that photographically in that year. So at this stage, I'm planning to put some photos in, but also I'm doing some drawings at the same time to go with it. Yeah.
That's fantastic. Well, definitely, if you're around Armidale, go and check that out. What month did you say that was? Sorry.
August, September.
August and September this year, go and check that out at the Armidale Art Gallery. A big thank you again, Terry, for coming and joining us for this brief interview, and I'm looking forward to seeing how the exhibitions of the eventual winners of the Your Place, Our Country competition go.
Yes, I'm on. Thank you.